Most people think they struggle with consistency because they lack discipline. They believe they need more willpower, more motivation, or more structure. But if discipline were the real problem, you wouldn't be able to stay consistent in the areas where you already do. You show up for some things effortlessly, while others feel impossible. This means the issue isn't discipline. It's something deeper. Something inside you is resisting the change you're trying to create. Inconsistency is almost always a form of protection. Your mind resists what feels unfamiliar, even when the unfamiliar is better for you. And consistency requires stepping into a new version of yourself. It demands identity expansion. It asks you to become someone your nervous system has not yet learned to feel safe being. During the day, you may feel motivated. You see the path clearly. You make plans. You set intentions. But when action time comes, something in your body tightens. You feel tired, distracted, unmotivated. You avoid. And this avoidance is not laziness. It's fear disguised as disinterest. It's your survival system stepping in to keep you within the boundaries of what's familiar. Your old identity clings to routine, even unhealthy ones, because the brain is wired for efficiency, not fulfillment. It prefers predictable misery to uncertain improvement. It prefers repeating the same cycles because repetition feels like safety. And any step toward consistency threatens to disrupt this predictable pattern. What looks like procrastination is sometimes grief for who you used to be. What looks like self-sabotage is often the mind trying to protect a version of you that no longer needs protecting. And what looks like inconsistency may be the nervous system saying, growth feels dangerous. Sometimes the reason you can't stay consistent is because consistency would force you to confront parts of yourself you've avoided. Success requires visibility. Discipline requires self-worth. Achievement requires maintaining effort, and effort can feel risky when your body associates effort with disappointment or pressure. There is also emotional backlog. Unprocessed emotions drain your energy and attention. Your mind cannot build new habits when it is still trying to survive old wounds. And so inconsistency shows up as a signal that something inside you is still unresolved. You might sit down to work on your goals and suddenly feel overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or numbness. That's not distraction. That's your body asking you to process something before you can move forward. Another hidden reason is identity conflict. If you've spent years thinking of yourself as someone who fails, someone who quits, someone who never follows through, consistency threatens that identity. Becoming someone consistent means letting go of the story that defined you. An identity loss, even when positive, feels like death to the mind. Your subconscious holds on to familiar narratives because they feel like home, even when that home is painful. There is also fear of success. Success demands responsibility. It demands visibility. It demands maintaining the progress you make. For some people, success feels heavier than failure. Failure is predictable. Success is not. So the mind sabotages before you can reach the unfamiliar. You might find yourself stopping just before a breakthrough, pulling back right when momentum builds, or creating chaos the moment things start working. This is not weakness. This is protection. And then there is fear of finally seeing what you're capable of. Because once you see your potential, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend you're small anymore. You can't hide behind excuses. And that level of accountability terrifies the parts of you that feel unworthy. Staying small keeps you safe from judgment, from expectations, from the risk of disappointing yourself or others. Consistency breaks the illusion of helplessness. It forces growth. And growth always awakens resistance. Your mind will create stories to justify quitting. It will tell you that you're not ready, that the timing is wrong, that you don't have what it takes. But these stories are not truth. They are the voice of the part of you that is afraid to change. There is also something important most people overlook. Consistency is not just a behavior, it is a relationship. A relationship with time, with effort, and, most of all, with yourself. And if your relationship with yourself has been shaped by criticism, pressure, or fear, consistency becomes a threat to the parts of you that learn to survive through avoidance. Growth feels unsafe when your self-talk has been harsh for years. Many people don't stay consistent because consistency would expose the emotional wounds they've been avoiding. When you show up regularly, you begin to see your patterns clearly. You notice the moments you shrink, the moments you get overwhelmed, the moments you lose hope. Seeing yourself honestly can feel confronting. And for some people, Quitting feels easier than facing the truth of why they quit. Another hidden factor is nervous system fatigue. When you live in constant stress, your body saves energy by avoiding anything that requires long-term effort. It prioritizes survival over growth. And consistency requires energy your system may not yet have. That resistance is not failure. It is a sign that your body needs safety before it needs discipline. You cannot force yourself into consistency when your nervous system is still in survival mode. And there is one more layer. Consistency requires belief. Not belief in the process, but belief that you're worthy of the results. If a part of you still feels unworthy of the life you want, your mind will sabotage the actions that could lead you there. Inconsistency is often the body saying you still don't feel safe receiving the good things you're trying to create. You may also struggle with consistency because you're trying to change too much at once. Your nervous system can only handle so much newness before it triggers overwhelm. When you try to overhaul your entire life overnight, your body interprets that as danger. It shuts down. It pulls you back to baseline. Not because you're incapable, but because your system needs gradual adaptation, not radical disruption. There's also the issue of external validation. If your motivation depends on praise, approval, or recognition from others, consistency becomes fragile. The moment that validation stops, your motivation collapses. True consistency comes from internal alignment, not external reward. It comes from knowing why you're doing something and believing in that reason even when no one is watching. Sometimes inconsistency is also a sign that you're pursuing the wrong goal. Not every goal deserves your consistency. Some goals are inherited from family expectations, societal pressure, or an old version of yourself. And your body knows when you're chasing something that doesn't align with who you're becoming. The resistance you feel might not be self-sabotage. It might be wisdom. When you understand this, something shifts. You stop seeing yourself as the enemy. You stop calling yourself lazy or unmotivated. You begin to understand that inconsistency is not a lack of strength, but a signal. A signal from a younger part of you that still needs reassurance, safety, and healing before it can allow you to move forward. So what can you do? The first step is compassion. Instead of asking why you're lazy, ask why this habit feels unsafe. Instead of judging yourself, become curious about the part of you that hesitates. That hesitation has a story, and listening to it is more effective than fighting it. The second step is emotional regulation. Your nervous system must feel safe before it can feel disciplined. This means grounding your body, slowing your breath, reducing sensory overload, and creating rituals that signal safety. Before you try to be consistent, make sure your body feels safe enough to try. The third step is identity reshaping. Instead of forcing yourself to act like a new person, begin thinking like one. Small identity shifts build consistency far more effectively than motivation. Start telling yourself a different story. Not I should be consistent, but I am someone who shows up. Not I always quit, but I am learning to stay. The fourth step is to start smaller than feels necessary. Your ego wants big changes. Your nervous system needs tiny ones. Consistency is built through repetition, not intensity. 1 minute a day is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. Micro actions create trust between you and your future self. And finally, let your progress be gentle. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about returning again and again, even when your mind resists. Over time, the unfamiliar becomes familiar, the frightening becomes safe, and the new becomes your normal. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to keep coming back. You're not inconsistent because you're weak. You're inconsistent because some part of you is still healing. And when that part finally feels safe, consistency comes naturally. It stops being a battle and starts being a rhythm. A rhythm that honors where you've been and trusts where you're going. If this video helped you understand your own patterns more deeply, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and sharing it with someone who might need these words. Your support helps this space reach more people on their journey of awakening, healing, and inner awareness. And if you're ready to keep exploring the deeper layers of your mind, there are more videos waiting for you here.